The Terrorism Screening Centre, or TSC, which maintains the list of terror suspects. The TSC is a continuation of the US terrorist watch list facilities, which began after the 9/11 attacks. The centre is run by the FBI and has been in operation since 2003. Its aim is to establish a global screening network to support the detention of terrorists and to coordinate the US government's approach to terrorism screening. They maintain what's called a terrorist screening database. This is a list of names of terror suspects and is accessible to government screeners such as police officers, customs officers and embassies. Bill Scannell, if I can come back to you, you've worked in the kind of intelligence arena. How important is it what you actually put on a database? Because presumably the information needs to be accurate, otherwise there's no point in having a list.
Quite. I mean, what one ends up with is a 1-1 map of the world, and this is what's so sad and pathetic. Anyone in the United States or in the world can be put on this list by any level of law enforcement. It's a secret list that you don't know really quite how one gets on, and you don't know how you get off either. So if you happen to upset your local sheriff or deputy in some whatever small town you happen to come from, you can end up on this list. And it is not only disingenuous but incredibly inaccurate to say that this is not used in the United States. I mean, anyone named David Nelson finds themselves getting stopped at airports. People with very common names, like even my own senator's wife, Catherine Stevens, who goes by Cat Stevens, was prevented from boarding an aircraft. So to say that this isn't affecting ordinary Americans trying to travel freely within their own country is absolutely wrong. It is an abomination that people have to look at secret lists in order to travel in their own nation.
New technology that allows officers to automatically read license plates and compare them to wanted vehicle databases. This is called ALPR, or Automated License Plate Recognition. Each ALPR vehicle has 3 cameras mounted on the light bar that can read license plates in all weather and in complete darkness. Each camera contains both the color overview and infrared camera. The machine will keep every single read that you've collected until you downshift or end shift. Just hit the next button and you can actually toggle through every single plate that you read. This information is downloaded or uploaded to the server, or we can actually use it for data mining. So if you want to know, was this plate for Robert David Nora 096 seen in the city of Long Beach by one of our license plate readers, you can query the plate, and every single time it's been seen that we still have in the database, it'll bring up the picture, the information with the timestamp. It's not showing here, but we have a timestamp and a GPS coordinate, and you can map the location of the vehicle. So you could query the system to see where in the past it's been seen.
When you hear about black boxes, this is probably what you think of. After a horrible plane crash, investigators search for them to get answers about what went wrong. What you might not know, black boxes aren't just in airplanes. There's probably one in your car recording your every move.
Cell phone users beware, Big Brother may be listening. The Federal Bureau of Investigation can now hear everything you say, even when the cell phone is turned off. I know it sounds kind of out there, but using your phone's tracking device, authorities can now activate the microphone inside the dreaded thing, allowing them to eavesdrop on you and your conversations. Experts say the only way around it is to take the battery out of the thing.
How would you feel if your boss tracked your every move and knew everywhere you went and everything you said at work and at home?
Well, there's software that allows bosses to do just that. And as Kurt the Cyber Guy explains, it's perfectly legal, and it could be happening to you right now.
A British researcher and his team have developed what's called automatic gait recognition, a 3D computer program that analyzes the way a person walks. It will allow investigators to match images caught on tape to a suspect's walk.
It's been a decade in the making and soon may be used right here in the U.S. And ABC's David Muir joins us here with more.
You know, Diane and Bill, this is really something. You know, investigators have long had fingerprints, DNA, and facial recognition. Apparently now they have this, a simple walk. And what they tell me is the way I just walked from here to there is unlike anyone else out there.
Some even envision a national database of walks, having criminals walk through a tunnel as their gates are recorded. It would have been impossible even 10 years ago, but now with this new technology, it is sophisticated enough to make it work.
Government taking a big new step, looking to build a huge database of people's physical characteristics. The FBI is taking on $1 billion project to gather fingerprints, palm patterns, even digital pictures of faces. Eventually, it could expand to include iris patterns, face shape patterns, scars, even information about how you walk and talk. It's called biometrics, and it could change the face of law enforcement, but it's also causing a lot of controversy.
You have to be very careful, because what if the wrong person is in that database, and that is something that can follow you forever. Someone said, it was reported, said, you know, if your credit card is stolen, you can get another credit card. If your eyeball print is stolen, you can't get another eyeball, and I think therein lies the problem here.
That's right, you know, and it's going to be a while before this actually all comes into play, and they're calling it next generation biometrics. Even the name's complicated, but for those of us who aren't on terror watch lists like the two of us, I mean, do we need to, yeah, hopefully, as far as we know, as far as we know, do we need to be concerned about this kind of thing?
You know, I think so. I really think so. You know, the ACLU and other groups are saying Big Brother is watching, but you do have to be careful. And it's interesting because a lot of this information is already in a database. I'm already in a database, having been a federal prosecutor and having security clearance. I'm already in that database. What the FBI wants to do is take that information and keep it. And that's the problem. And generally, you can get access to it and ask for information that's on you, but in this situation, you may not be able to get that information.
Yeah,
so I think everyone does have to be careful.
FISA bill that gives President Bush the chance to spy on Americans without any warrant if they think it's an emergency for up to 7 days. It also gives the phone companies immunity for past crimes if a district judge decided they got a valid wiretap request from the White House. The bill stands not only to corrupt the Constitution, but will immunize telecom communities that spied on American citizens at the behest of President Bush and keep them from any legal liability. As the Senate prepares to take this up, FISA 2008, already a campaign issue, Senator Obama offered qualified support, warning that as president, he would monitor the program closely, which is nice, but not really close enough. If you immunize the telecoms, are you not also immunizing the president, the Bush administration, and to some degree the Congress that went along with all of these crimes in the last 7 years?
Oh, there's no question in my mind that there is an obvious level of collusion here. We now know that Democratic leadership knew about the illegal surveillance program almost from its inception. Even when they were campaigning about fighting for civil liberties, they were aware of an unlawful surveillance program as well as a torture program. And ever since that came out, the Democrats have been silently trying to kill any effort to hold anyone accountable, because that list could very well include some of their own members.
What the Department of Homeland Security is talking about is expanding a program to use Pentagon spy satellites, military satellites really, for domestic purposes. They also leave open the possibility that this could be used for law enforcement purposes, tracking potential terrorists, but also tracking drug operations. And that's where the concerns about civil liberties abuses come in. First of all, there are very strict laws about, there's something called the Posse Comitatus Act, which limits the use of the U.S. military for law enforcement purposes. But the precision of these satellites, they can literally capture images and crystal clear images of you in your car as you leave the studio.
To all the young people who are here, I want you to know what I'm going to be asking for. I'm going to be asking for all of you to serve this country. Serve in the military.